Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
all of us doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
How are we?
We were just sharing it on Facebook. So, yeah, if there's any comments, make sure you put them all in the comment section down below, or if you're on YouTube, put them in the comments, because we'll be able to see them all, and then we can share them on screen and we can answer your questions with Denise. So, Ian, if you want to introduce.
Right, yes. So this is Denise Walsh, Maverick, lady with the biggest hair in the world today. So Denise and I have only been knowing each other about 2 years. We met in the Dominican Republic. It was like an amazing, as soon as I met her, I heard this accent in a bar. I'd only been there about 2 hours, and I knew the Irish were arriving, and I'd heard about Denise anyway. And somebody told me, you've got to meet this girl. And I heard it, so I went over and introduced myself. And then we kind of hit it off almost immediately, I think.
Yeah.
Like, didn't stop talking. And then I was introduced to your other arm, who we'll come to a bit later. But that was 2 years ago. And so much has happened since. And I found out so much more about you. I've learned loads about you. And that's why we wanted you on, to explain exactly where you are, because I think I describe you as a bit of a powerhouse businesswoman, hairdresser, you know, business thinker. You are, it is, and you're like just unstoppable. I love it. So that's what we want to talk about, how you get to that place, the things you've overcome, and how amazing you are. Simple as that.
What an entrance. Don't know what to say to that.
True.
Well, I feel the same way about you. So you made it sound all very romantic in the Caribbean, and it was like literally like business. Yeah, Sabrina was like business. Bored. I think Sabrina was bored after 30 seconds, and she was like, "Oh, they're talking business. I'll come back later on."
It's true, yeah.
Throw me a question, because you've answered everything about me there.
Okay,
so
cool. So there's a couple of things I want to know. Is that first of all, you're a phenomenal businesswoman and you run a fantastic business. I know that you advocate that all hairdressers, owners especially, should know their business. But I know your story isn't that you just happen to be an amazing businesswoman. It was something you had to learn. So do you want to tell us the background of how you had to learn and why, and then what happened?
I've made a big rookie mistake.
We left it open.
No, well, apart from that, I knew you'd cop that. Can I just get my power pack? I am so sorry, Paul.
Yeah, no worries.
Are you nearly done?
Yeah, it just flashed at me, and I'm just like, oh my god! Like 2 seconds, okay?
By error.
No worries.
Anyway, Paul, that's how mental she is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, she's a whirlwind, Denise. So like what was your experience like the first time you met her, which was like in a taxi or something, was it, right?
No. So I met all three of them. So
oh my God.
We've already had Katrina on. We've already had Sabrina, and now we've got Denise. So my first experience was when I was joining Joico, and then I was flying over to Helmond, and we were going to do a training week. So I spent a week with these girls, and how we felt. Well, the first morning of it all, there was loads of stories, Instagram stories going up, and I was just like, oh my God, who are these? And they were checking their followers, and they've got like thousands of followers, and they were doing these stories to say, we're heading to Helmond, we're going to do this training day, we've got this guy Paul coming, he's something to do with Joico, and I was like, oh my God, who are these three girls? And then my flight was delayed, they were all in the bar already. And I got there, and I don't think they stopped talking from the moment until the airport.
True story.
Yeah. So there was that, right? And they are like, you think it's going to be intimidating right till you meet them.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like it's just hilarious most of the time.
The social media thing at the beginning, because we were all very new to it, and this is what we've been talking about, Denise, as well. How you three girls have come on board with Joico, and you've made us delve into this whole new world as such of live.
Smacking you into it.
Yeah, and we're loving it, and this is why we're doing it. And it was very intimidating. The first time I woke up that Sunday morning, and I was like, all three of you were like, we're going to Helmond, we're doing this. This guy Paul's going to be there. And I'm like, yeah. And then we met in the bar, and it was just like, we just all hit it off. It was incredible.
Yeah, like straight away. But I think, like, that's just us, though. Like, you know, we knew you were coming, and like, I suppose, God, I didn't think that we would be intimidating or that we would come across, like, I suppose only because I know the girls so much. I think that's really funny when I hear like you two guys, like you're icons in our eyes, and then for you to say, "Oh God, it was quite intimidating," until you met us. And I think what myself, Sabrina, and Katrina definitely have going is that we like to make everybody feel welcome. And I think the three of us all feel the same way, in the sense that we have businesses because we've made them what they are today. And we ourselves would have been really intimidated by big icon names for years and years and years. And like me personally, I just decided that I wanted to know how my business was operating. I didn't want to be the fluffiness on the outside of the business. I wanted to actually be the center of it and find out what's going on and have the team do all the good stuff. I want to do the crappy stuff, basically. But yeah, we just like to have a bit of fun as well in the meantime, and sure, try and make everyone feel welcome. And anything that I know, I want to share it with people. I don't think I've ever been that kind of person to keep that to myself. I love sharing, and I love helping like other salons get over difficulties. And definitely one thing I've always learned is that there's never a stupid question, because I asked so many questions when I first started, like jumping into the business end of the salon. And I would have been afraid to do that for so long. And then I decided, do you know what? There is no stupid questions. So I just asked and asked and asked. And the first thing I can remember was asking my accountant what was VAT. And his reply was, don't worry about it. You just make sure that you have some money in your account at the end of every month. And that was where my story started, was because that's what got me into so much trouble. Now, is it his fault? Well, for years I would have blamed him, but not really, because I'm the one who decided to open up a salon. So I should have known what VAT was, and I should have known how to save and budget and put some money aside. So I learned the hard way, and then started moving accountants until I found one that actually sat me down and said, this is what it is, this is what we're going to do, and this is what I expect you to do with me. And
because at that time you had got into some pretty hefty trouble, didn't you?
Yes, yeah. I was 21 when I was 21. I lived in Australia, and I was managing a group of salons when I lived in Australia. And then I think I spent about 5 years over there. So I was 26, 27 when I opened up my first salon. And I love that saying, because that's definitely what I did, where hairdressers wear and drive their money. And that's what I done for the first 5 years, because when I opened up back in 2009, it was like literally 2009, 2001. It was literally like, it was crazy. People were coming in and throwing money at the counter, and you didn't really have to do much. You just had to do hair. Like at that time, where I had my location, it was definitely all about the location, because I can't actually admit that our services were like absolutely fantastic or absolutely amazing. Just that we were putting hair out. It was like a rotavator belt. And like a little bit of me is ashamed to admit that, because I was so young and I knew I was good at doing hair. And then I started hiring people, but they weren't really good at doing hair. And it was all fast and it was all really good. And then the VAT problem started, and I realized, oh my God, I owe the guts of 30 grand in VAT. And just when we were starting to get that sorted, about 3 months later, the PAYE and the other taxes were owed. And that was another 40 grand that I hadn't been putting every week. So I was literally like, how am I going to pay this? How is this actually going to even happen? Like the sheriffs are going to come out and close me down, which is, I don't know what you call them in the UK.
Bailiffs.
Yeah.
And if you get a call of them, then you know that you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But I think I went on, I struggled on like that for about 2 years, paying a bit, making a bit, paying a bit, making a bit. And I moved accountants and I moved to another accountant, and he said he would have me sorted within a year. And in that year, I really started to kind of do a few business courses, bookkeeping courses, and just to put my hand in something, I guess, and to do something. With the end of that year, that new accountant still hadn't given me what I wanted, which is I wanted to know what they were doing, basically. So again, at the end of that year, the bills were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So the VAT bill still wasn't cleared, and the other tax bills still weren't cleared. So that was where I went back to the credit union to get another loan to pay off another tax bill. And then the credit union, which in Ireland are phenomenal for this, they would have brought me in for meeting and said, we're not giving you any more money. And we can't give you any more money unless you let us mentor you and you abide by our rules, which was basically, yeah. So long story short, what they done was they set me up with the enterprise board, so like a financial institute. And I had meetings. Now, I was heavily pregnant on my first child with this. And I remember just sitting at the table, very hormonal. And it was a gentleman who is now my financial advisor today, still is, and one of the head women from the enterprise board. And the two of them were like standing there looking at me because I was just crying and crying. And I can't pay this. And I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was like out to here. And I'm sure they're thinking, well, I can't say too much to this one. Like, so that was the whole first meeting. And it was like the first meeting was, oh my God, the stupid accountant didn't do this and didn't do that. And like, I paid all this money. And just like, when I look back on it, such a rookie or a childish or immature or whatever you want to call it. But that was definitely all that way. That's what I would call the way I handled it. Very young, very immature, blame everybody else but myself, you know. And it was the second meeting that I suppose at this stage, maybe 2 weeks later, that they had gotten all my P&Ls and had all my basically everything belonging to me in one folder. And Sean, who is financial advisor, and he sat me down and he said, right, we're going to do this, but we're going to do it my way. And I want your credit cards. And to be fair, I never had, like, I don't have credit cards. To this day, I'm 41 and I still don't have a credit card. I've never been a high spender like that. I just don't have a credit card. I don't need it, right? But I had credit cards for the salons. And even at that, I don't mean I was spending, I never spent money on the business on stupid things, as in for me. But like, I had a water feature wall in the salon. Why? Like, my dad, who would be a massive mentor of mine, he's a businessman as well, and he would always said, but like, does that water wall cut hair? I'm like, no. And because I'm his girl, I got away with it. And he was like, well, if you think you really need it, I was like, yeah, it's going to make the place look brilliant. It's going to bring in more clientele. It's going to do amazing colors. You know, the crap that you done years and years ago, buying stupid signs, stupid things. So Sean basically sat me down and said, all that stupid stuff is now gone.
Right.
We've got 18 months to do this, or you're going to be closed down.
Wow.
By the sheriff.
Yeah.
And first baby was on the way. And my husband had decided, well, we decided that he was going to go back to college and study. And it was in a private college. So the fees were coming in at about 12 grand a year. So he was working on Saturdays and Sundays, and he'd go to college. No, sorry, he used to go to college on Saturdays and Sundays, but he used to work Monday to Friday. So his wage obviously went towards the college, and I had to help out on that one as well. So that 18 months, we had a little girl, and it was the toughest 18 months of our life. I do remember living on beans and toast in order to try and get this money paid off. But at the end of that 18 months, we were completely debt-free. Now, the biggest reason I got into trouble was not overspending, believe it or not. It was actually paying back bills way too quickly and using cash flow. The minute it was there, I'd pay a bill. The minute it was there, I'd pay a bill. Yes, stupidly things I bought that I didn't need. And then you bring it right back and you discover you're spending way too much money on colour. You know, instead of having it at a 10, 12%, I'm up at 25. So maybe there was some colour being taken. Definitely we were overusing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, for a long time, like in Ireland years and years ago, we used to let the reps come in and do our orders for us. Why?
Yeah,
let me help you out. I'll help you out. I'm your best friend. I'm going to look after you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think it was definitely a mixture of all those things. Now, it was definitely the toughest 18 months of our lives, like without a doubt. And we're still together today. You guys know my husband at this stage, so we're still together and happy and blah, 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 blah. But we'll never forget it. But we laugh at it now and we think, God, I made some stupid mistakes when I was younger. So I suppose I love talking about it because, one, it's in the past. 2, I'll never make those mistakes again. And 3, I'd love if some people can learn from those mistakes and not do.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who would see this and listen to you speaking, and they would identify with that. I speak to so many hairdressers right now, you know, who have those problems right now. And, and what they don't understand is every hairdresser I've ever worked with, if I help them with business, they always go, oh yeah, but I'm just the hairdresser. I'm just the hair. I want to cut. And actually, you hit the nail on the head. You said, it's my salon. I have to know this stuff, and I have responsibility. And you can't leave it to somebody else, no matter if it's your partner, your business partner, your husband, wife, whatever. You have to know this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I always think hairdressers are really creative thinkers. And sometimes you get a problem where somebody who's not from our industry will try to solve it in a straightforward fashion, but it needs something out here where you will see it as a hairdresser. Well, why can't we do this? And that will solve the problem in a more creative way, give you time or whatever. And I think that's why the beauty of a hairdresser understanding the business side becomes so special in the industry. You know, I think that's amazing. And the way you do it is phenomenal. So,
oh, thank you. Thank you. I kind of have something that I live by. It's like, I definitely, in the last, I suppose, 7 or 8 years, I don't feel like, as a salon owner of 2 salons, that I can do everything, because that's the other mistake that hairdressers then make. They're like, okay, I'm going to be a hairdresser, but I'm going to be a business owner as well, and I'm going to do the stock take, and I'm going to do the orders, and I'm going to look after everything, and then they go crazy.
Yeah.
But the piece of advice that I definitely give is, like, you have to allocate some of these jobs to other people, but you never, ever should allocate a job unless you know how to do it first, and then I'll hand it over.
Yeah.
And every now and again, I'll step back in and I might do a stock take, or I'll step back in and I might do an order, or I'll step back in or whatever, because we do our own payroll now as well. And I now have an office girl she started with me doing 2 days a week. She came from a nursing home and she used to do front of house, to then turn into a manager. Now she stepped down from management because she's in my office 3 days a week. So she does all the payroll, and she does, you know, all the HR stuff and budgets and la 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 la. But like, when she's on holidays, I make sure that I step in, because I want to make sure that I can still do this stuff, right? The same way and I know this sounds really crazy, but just like a haircut, it kills me, and a color. If I see one of my guys doing a flashy color and a flashy haircut, I'm like, hold on now. I'm back out on that floor. Yeah. I'm back doing that training on Wednesday, because I want to know how to do that flashy haircut and that flashy color.
Yeah.
I think it's really important that we know how to do everything, but we have to be very sensible and allocate what we don't have time to do. Not what we don't love doing, it's what we don't have time to do.
Yeah, I think that there's 2 things I learned from that, and you just reminded me perfectly, actually. It's like, there's a difference between, I delegate a lot of the jobs in the salon.
Yes.
I use two things. Number 1, I take my hands off, but I always keep my eyes on.
Yeah.
Number 1, hands off, eyes on. And the second one is a difference between abdication and delegation.
Yeah.
So delegation is actually mentoring somebody through something and having them feedback to you, and then you giving feedback to them. Abdication is trusting somebody to get on with it and then not having any connection with them, and it goes on. And that is the worst type of, people still think that's delegation. It's not. It's abdication of your responsibility. You're giving it to somebody else because you don't want to do it. Stock take, for instance.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why your stock's wrong. And you're not having any feedback. You know, in that delegation, you've taken your hands off and your eyes off, and it doesn't work. You got to do one or the other, hands on or eyes on. That's the way it works, I think.
And 9 times out of 10, when there is problems with stock in the salon, it generally falls back on stock take being wrong. So I think it's really important that stock take is correct in placing your orders, because, like, let's be honest, any salons that I've ever gone into to help out and give some guidance on, the biggest problems are always the wage percentage and the stock control percentage. They're two of our biggest enemies, but they're really important to the salons as well. Like, but it's such a fine line. The gross profit margins in this industry, there's such a fine little line. It just takes one of those to tick slightly off balance.
Over the wrong side, right? Tip over.
Yeah. And then we're just busy fools for nothing.
Yeah. So you got a very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
It's an expensive hobby.
I don't want an expensive hobby. I want a nice, profitable business at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's like, and I know you offer advice, and I know you do this, and I think next year you're planning to do more business stuff as well, which is great, because you've teamed up with Sabrina.
Yes.
And you've got the business of hair.
Yes.
How did that start?
So I guess about 7 or 8 years ago, I guess, when I kind of got the business on a better place, and I decided, right, I'm getting this moving a lot more. It took me about 2 years, I guess, to really refine it, and then I have to keep working on it. And then it was at that stage when I spoke to you at the start, I just said, and a little part of me was ashamed that I was running this really good salon. It was really, like, it was flat out. Like, I just stepped off a plane from Australia, opened up a salon in Ireland that wasn't even in the city centre, that wasn't in the town. It was like there was no parking. It shouldn't have taken off, and it did. And it was just me and one other girl. And within 6 months, I had 6 more employees, and 6 more months, I had another 3 or 4 employees. It grew, and it grew really, really fast. Like, we started with a salon of like 6 sections, and 9 years we were in that small little salon, and we ended up with like 12 sections. We just kept expanding and expanding, and now we've expanded even more, and we have nearly 20 stations. And it was somewhere in that time of realizing, okay, this is really good, but we're losing a lot of clients. They're coming in, they're going, they're coming in, they're going, they're coming in, they're going. And then I realized our hair wasn't actually fantastic. Our services weren't fantastic, but we as people were fantastic. And that old saying, sometimes you can have really good clientele because you're fantastic or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's not being big-headed. That's just being like, a lot of the staff I hired were like me. They were bubbly and nice and friendly. There was no attitudes. So we were retaining clientele for that site. Anyway, long story short, I decided, right, we need education. We need education, and I need it now. Found Sabrina, messaged her, said, hey, how's it going? Hey, how are you? We want to swap services. She was like, yeah, cool. What are you thinking? I was like, can you show me while you're doing your colour? And she said, yeah. And then she realised, I suppose, after meeting me, how much of the business I was into. And she said, actually, can you start looking at my books? And so, yeah, we started meeting and having P&L meetings, and then we swapped a day. So she came up to the salon for a full day, and we done balayage training for a whole day, and then we done a second day. And I was always a very good cutter, and around that time then I suppose I got onto an Irish team for cutting. So I was down in her salon teaching her guys how to cut. We spent about 2-3 years doing this, going back and forth, just educating each other's teams on different areas, upstyling, blah 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 blah. So I think I always loved colour, but I never had the ability. I was always really good at like the technical end of colour. When I lived in Australia, I won a competition outright over there. I got how would you say? I got like a sponsorship from providing. I was actually working for Wella when I was in Australia for a little while as well. I got sponsorship through putting this manual together on basically fundamental colours. So I was 16 Australians, I won it, and and it really helped in getting my sponsorship over there. So anything to do with the science of hair, I loved. So then when I met Sabrina, I had the science of hair, and I had the ability now to start doing really good colour, and we just hit it off. And then within 2 years of practicing, people started seeing us online, going to each other's salons, helping each other out, and really opening up that kind of taboo of, oh my God, they're helping each other. Why are they helping each other? They should be enemies, blah, blah, blah. And then we are still very big in Ireland into competing, and definitely in the last 5 years we've really made a household name for ourselves on the competition floor. Sabrina, not so much. They don't love competing, but I was able to bring some of hers along and see if they wanted to get into it. Through this, we were just inundated with messages from other salons. Would you come to our salon and maybe teach us something? And so we spent about another 6-8 months maybe putting some courses together, basically. And we tried it out on our own salons first. So we had like a Sunday, we treated them like we didn't know them. We had our own guys in, and we launched our very first course on our own team. And after that, then we got into the whole marketing, Instagram. Thankfully, myself and Sabrina had such a big following on social media. We advertised on a Friday our first course, which was crazy. Like when I look back on it, it was so amateurish. And it was like for maybe like 3 weeks later down the road, like now you'd want to be preparing it well in advance. But with the tickets went on sale on the Friday, and we sold 30 tickets within 24 hours.
Wow.
And they weren't cheap. We were charging €300 per person, and it was just phenomenal. We were like, what's going on? And from there, then it has just grew and grew. We were doing a lot of, so with this, we would do in Sabrina's salon or my salon, we sold the tickets singularly to stylists all around the country so they could come. And it has grown from doing it like in her salon, in my salon, to doing 4 dates every year for Expert Academy in Dublin, where we could have just a look and learn in the morning and a hands-on in the afternoon, and we might have 60 to 70 people. So we do 4 of those a year, and then we do at least 6 of our own dates again, which we call Hairdressers on Tour, where the individual stylists again can come. And then we do 2 a month private dates where we go into a salon and we take a maximum number of 10 and teach them in their own salon and their own salon for the day. And those courses are made up of all our different balayages. So you have a choice of prescription balayage, dimensional balayage. In the beginning, we used to do a lot of the business salon helping as well. We've massive calling for the colour, so we don't do too much of the business. But look, when I'm there and if we get ahead of ourselves, I always grab this salon owner and we head out the back and I give them a little helping hand wherever I can.
So when you first messaged Sabrina, was that through social media?
Yeah, Facebook.
Facebook, cool. So that's one of the things that hairdressers, like you said, people are going to think, oh, they're supposed to be enemies. Like if they're doing the same thing, they're competing against each other, but you've completely blew that apart and created a business out of it. And I think there's people out there that want to do it, but they don't really know how to approach it, or is it really a good thing to approach? And seeing like you lot do it, it's a great thing because the education you're getting for free from each other, but then you're also exploring a brand new business.
Absolutely. And like, you know, so Sabrina is in Cork and I'm in Kilkenny. So Sabrina's at the south of the country, I'm in the middle, right? Yeah. And then Katrina is not involved in business of hair. Katrina actually has her own education, Katrina Kelly Education. Yeah. Katrina's in Dublin. But the 3 of us are now on the JICO team together. Like the 3 of us are all working together. And so even before we joined JICO, we actually this year, for the first year in January, we decided to not only have Sabrina's salon and my salon, we actually included Katrina in it. So once a year, we now get together behind closed doors, and the 3 of us bring all of our staff together. Katrina's teaching at one end, Sabrina's teaching at the other end, and I'm teaching somewhere in the middle. And all of our staff are working around like that.
I'm coming next year. Just so you know, I'm coming next year.
Yeah.
I'm inviting myself.
It's not okay. I know we get asked this all the time. Would we have done that if we were in the same town? Probably not. But there's no harm in still picking up the phone. Like, I'll give you an example. Last week, so where I have my 2 salons, one is in Kilkenny. It's a city. It's very cosmopolitan. It's cool. It's Kilkenny is a good big city, a little bit like Dublin and a little bit like Cork, but not as big. Then where I have my second salon in Carlow, it's a small town. Okay. This is definitely where we'll see a lot of this with hairdressers not wanting to talk to each other, not wanting to do this, not wanting to do that. So in the town itself, I decided, right, we're going back after COVID-19, right? And hopefully, please God, we're going back in July. Do we go back as we were before we left, or do we go back with a bit of a mission? The biggest thing that we have in that town and the surrounding area is that all salon owners tend to pull the rug from each other with prices and la la la. So I basically just picked up the phone, rang 2 salons that I felt were kind of on my bracket. Hey, you want to have a chat? I'm just thinking, like, I wouldn't be enemies with anybody, but I wouldn't really have much to do with these people. Actually, one of the girls used to work for me and left to open up her own salon. So I said, look, do you want to have a Zoom meeting next week? Let's have a chat. And maybe we could come together in some of our pricing, as in the all over colors, the cuts, and maybe, we're talking about not doing blow dries for the first 6 weeks. Would you be on board with it? So it's turned into having like 2 salons, including myself, 3. We've now added on 2 more onto it. Now, not everyone's going to want to do that because we're all obviously at different levels, as we are all over the world. But we've got 5 salons, and just in that town, because surrounding areas don't really count. I'm talking about in a town on a street where there could be like 5 salons all together. And you would get a lot of clients going, well, I can get it done down there for that price, or I can get it done down here, la, la, la. So we've come together and we've decided, right, we had our Zoom meeting and we've kind of decided we are going to have a raise in prices, but we're actually going to all be in or around the same price. And I just feel by doing something like this, it means we're kind of showing strength and support, and we're coming together instead of being against each other all the time, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I think actually what will happen is once anybody else cottons on that you've all raised your prices, they go in to raise your prices.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to get left behind at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Business is business. They don't want to get left behind. And if they would be mugs if they decided to drop their prices because you raised yours, that would just be stupid.
Yeah. Our services are completely different, especially in Carlow town itself, like they are, and that's globally, isn't it? But I just find, it just takes that one phone call. So like if you know someone who you'd like to reach out. I know myself and Sabrina, after every time we have a business of hair seminar or a course, when it involves lots of stylists and salon owners from all over the country, we always do this. We have a Q&A at the very end for the last hour where people have popped in questions into a box throughout the day. They're anonymous. We read them out, and it really helps people understand different salons and how they operate. The only thing we won't answer is wages. We never answer anything about wages. It's none of our business. But what we always do at the end is we say to them, do you know what you'll do? Turn around to who's behind you or beside you. Introduce yourself. Swap numbers, and you might just have a support friend for life. And it works. Like we get so many messages and I was sitting beside a girl and she's hundreds of miles away from me, but like now we're able to help each other out as regards pricing and this, that, and the other. It's just support. Like it's a very lonely world if you don't have support, I think. And before I met Sabrina, it was so lonely, and Katrina, definitely.
Yeah, I think so we met in Punta Cana with the Joico World Experience thing. And then when we came back, I had you and Sabrina to come to the salon.
Yes.
I think it was the week you launched Business of Hair.
That's right. It was. You were our first salon that we
So that was, and I remember afterwards going back to we went for dinner, didn't we, afterwards?
That's right. Yeah.
And I sat there and you were like, well, what did you think? What did you think?
Yeah.
I was like, I just couldn't believe there was this tidal wave of information. And I said, oh my God, you've got to slow it down.
We get way too much.
It was like amazing. And I think I said at the time, you've got like 4 courses here.
Yeah.
And you just got to just do one for this and one for that. And I remember the conversation and you both going, yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we've done is we've broke it up into 3 different days. Like, so now we have 3 different types of courses because what we done for Ian Paul is we like overloaded all the staff. I think we done like 4 different techniques in the one day. It was way too much information.
Phenomenal though. It was phenomenal. They loved it,
I know, but like you were so spot on because you had said to us, myself and Sabrina were trying to impress you, obviously, and we gave you so much information that the lads probably were only able to take one away from that 4. So to us, it was nearly wasted because we should have just concentrated on one technique or 2 technique or, it was good. We really took away from that.
There was nothing wasted, I can tell you that. But it was like so funny because you were so like on it. Like the intensity was incredible to watch you both together, and that's spending time and you know, like go back to what you're saying about. From that, I learned like sharing was really good. And in my area, I never felt I had anybody to share with. But actually, because of that, I've now linked up with salon owners in my area, 2 in particular, well, a couple. There's a husband and wife team who I've become really friendly with, and we share quite a lot of information anyway. And we're quite open about things. And they've helped me with stuff, and I've helped them with stuff as well. And we talk very openly about stuff. And I think in the beginning, I remember we met for coffee, and there was a bit of like, almost a bit of suspicion, almost. And then once you got past that, the whole thing changed. And now I probably speak to them, even now in lockdown, probably at least once a week. We have messages or just, and it's really good that you know somebody's in the same position. There's a lot of,
absolutely,
it gives me a lot of confidence that, you know, and you can just talk. If you're having a bad day, you can talk to them about it. If they're having a bad day, they can. So, you know, you're both experiencing the same things. But I think I think it'll grow into something a bit special as well, because they are really good people. They're people, and I've known them for 25, 30 years nearly as a couple as well. So I know them really well. So it's really good, you know. So I'm really enjoying that.
Good. Good.
So you came on board from Joy to Joico.
Yes, we did, with a bang.
With a massive bang. And you had a lot of people chasing you at the time. A lot of brands were wanting you. A lot of brands. So what was what actually tipped it over to Joico? What made you decide to come onto our brand?
You guys, like, hands down, the people that were behind Joico, including yourself, Big Daddy David Murray. Just the support is phenomenal. Like, without a doubt, the product is amazing. Like, we all know that. The product is fantastic. But you can have any product and it will be fantastic. It really depends on who's in the background of it. The support, like, not going to lie, Paul's a legend, Ian's a legend, you're all legends, and we have some crack with you. But the work ethic that's behind this company and the support and the fact that, you know, we're women and we try, like, we're always trying to get on top of that ladder. And I love the fact that there's so many women behind us, like Daniela and Wendy and Lena and all the girls like that. That means a lot to me, especially. And to me then as a mother, I'm surprised by the amount of support that we get, that they understand that we have kids, but they want to really look after us and making sure that we're minded. It's not that they just, you know, they want us on board because we're really good and we have big followings on social media. It's they're genuinely concerned and they like our work and they think we're this and think we're that. But the support with Joico, you'll never get it anywhere else, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, definitely. We've all worked with other companies.
Yeah.
And I said this, I don't know what I said it on. Was it my live? I think I said it on my live, Instagram live, that it's like coming home and it's like family vibe, and it's just unreal. The vibe, like as soon as you get to Hellman's and wherever, if we're anywhere with any of them, you just get that feel, that love, and it's something that I've never ever felt in another company working for.
Me neither. Yeah, no, me neither. And I've done a few around Australia as well. And like, you know, I think, Paul, you definitely, you've got a lot that you got done with them. Myself, Katrina and Sabrina, we're like, oh my God, bloody hell, you COVID-19. This was to be our year. We hit so many bookings and we were just getting started and we were just excited. And I know the girls are loving the lives that we've done with our techniques. And I think that's really made their job now easier when it comes to going back to distributors. But I cannot wait to do some stage work. I'm just so excited. I really can't wait.
So that question there, how do you deal with stylists who don't like pay increases? But there's this question. So there was 2 questions.
Cool. Can we book Denise in England and can we book Ian and Paul in Ireland? Yeah, I'm there. No problem. When this bloody virus is gone.
Yeah, I love that question. When we going? Let's get some dates in the diary now.
Daniela, Wendy, where are you girls?
So yeah, that came in. The first one that came in was, how do you deal with stylists who don't like price increases? And you have them in the team. Like, as much as that we do like to, well, we run the business. There's some stylists that don't feel that they're up to that level of that next price.
Yeah. Okay. Are you asking me?
Yeah, it was a question.
Cool. Well, what I do is, because we like when I look at questions like this, you know, it would be easy for me to turn around and say, we don't get too much of that anymore, right? But you have to always try and think back when we were doing this. And the biggest thing that I know I used to do was, if I felt anyone didn't think that they were worth what I knew that they were worth, I'd retrain them, and I'd spend a lot of time with them until they realize how good they are.
Yeah.
But they need to be good before you can never just give someone a price increase, ever.
No, I think you've got to look at, like, we have measurements, like, you know, utilization, you know, your average bill, so you've got to have those things in place first.
Yeah.
And then it becomes non-negotiable. When you put that in front of somebody, say, look, these are the numbers, this is what the scale is, and if you hit this is your promotion, you're hitting this every quarter, every month, this is what you have to be. And it's all about, it is confidence then. It is sometimes, I've got one in my salon, you know her, I'll name her, Shawnee, who is phenomenal. One of the best hair colorists in Wales at the moment, because she's learned the stuff that she spent with you. She's gone on to do other stuff herself. She knows, she's grown in 3 or 4 years. The last 3 or 4 years, she's grown so much. She's charging really good money at the moment, but doesn't really believe it. And I'm like, you've got like another 30-40% in you. You know, you're going to go on to the, and she's like, oh my God, that freaks me out.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, and what I've started to do with her now is to do a couple of live things with her, or just me and her, and she does FaceTime to me explaining, so she feels confident in front of a camera, which should transport that into the salon where she owns it in the salon.
Yeah.
And coaching her that way, and kind of in the beginning, she couldn't look at the camera without laughing.
Yeah.
We all know what that's like. Or I stutter terrible when I'm recording stuff.
So she got really, and like now I'm saying, right, okay, now, and because I'm giving a critique while we are doing it. So like, do this, move, you know, like, right, you're standing here now, think about this, what I'm looking at, then move this way. And you can almost coach them that way, but doing it virtually is a good way. And you can see, she wants it, you know, she really wants it, but she doesn't believe she deserves it, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
And that's growing those things. So, but if you've got your measures in place, a price increase is indisputable. It is what it is. They grow in, they deserve it. And I think when you show them what they can earn out of it, what this what it means to you over this year, and they see like £2,000 or £3,000 extra, they soon come round to it. You know, okay. How do you get that right?
You're only going to get that information through to your stylist with regular one-to-ones. Like, we have them every 5 to 6 weeks, without a doubt. And then the stylist gets to see what they're doing every single. So, like, they're not silly. If they know that they're not hitting targets, and yet a salon owner is saying, well, actually, I'm giving you a price increase, then that shouldn't be the case. But if the stylist, which my lads do, and they see that they're getting better and they're getting better, they know then, okay, we're now heading for style director. So we have tiered pricing system in the salon, and that's what my guys are drilling for the whole time.
Yeah. I think they are critical to business, having those incremental price tiers, because it makes sense. It's a pathway to being successful. Yeah. You know, and you have to give somebody a pathway. In Wales, there's still many salons where it's a flat price across the board. I just don't get that, you know. But
I think regular communication and regular target meetings with the stylist would definitely help that one.
Yeah, and undoubtedly, I think that's where you've got to set up and have your habits in the diary. It doesn't move. That's it, you know. I think
this is why salon owners shouldn't have time to work on the floor 5 and 6 days a week. Not if you're doing this kind of stuff.
No, I do 3 days. How many days do you do now on the floor?
2 days. One in one salon and the other in another salon. Yeah.
Paul, what are you on? 5.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say something on this. when I was Paul's age, I was doing the exact same thing. I was working 5 days.
He doesn't remind me he's that young either, mind. He doesn't have a go at me all the time, but I'm that old. You know?
This is what I was going to say at the beginning. Like, I'm on that path now where my dad runs the business side for me. I've been hairdresser, marketing, social media, training part for, coming up 10 years now. And I'm progressively getting more into the business side now. There's more stuff I want to do with the business side and like with this sort of thing. So, yeah, I mean, I'm 35 now. I gave myself till 40 to sort of maybe like the lead up to 40 is where I lose a day, and then the business becomes more, I don't know, my priority when I sort of hit.
Yeah. And I think I was definitely like, I'm only a small bit older than Paul. So like I was definitely 34, 35 when I started getting a bit of cop on and realizing, right, a little bit less time on the floor and a little bit more time. And then throw babies into the mix, and we have to try and balance it all then together.
Yeah. So I got an invader. Go and ask mommy quickly. So no, I'm with you on that you got those. Like, I'm working 3 days on the floor now, and I've been doing that for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But to be honest, a lot of it,
35.
I could be doing more because but my team, I've got such a great team around me now, and they're responsible for so many different parts of Salon that very often I go in, and when I go to do something, it's already been done, and I'm like, oh, okay. Now what do I need to do? And I have to create work for myself because they are so efficient at doing it now, and I trust them so much. And you know, like Scott, my friend of house, you've met Scott. He's like incredible. Yeah. He's my friend of house, and he has 105,000 followers on Instagram. You know, he's like phenomenal. He's written a book. He does public speaking engagements. He goes to red carpet events, and people come to see him. He's an incredible character, but he's so loyal, and he does all my wages. He does all the VAT, and I talk to him probably every day. We're doing something or other, but then I have those 2 dedicated office days where he runs everything, and we run it together. And like even now in lockdown, we're on the phone 2-3 times a week talking about stuff, about the wages, about furlough, about he's amazing. But so I'm lucky. I said to Paul last week, your vibe attracts your tribe. And like you were saying, you attracted all the girls who were like you, were bubbly and everything.
Yeah.
And you were most like you, I think. And I think
we were crazy.
Yeah. But that's what happens. You surround yourself with people like yourself, Yeah. And I think that's important in business, is to surround yourself by people, but also surround yourself by people who you feel are higher in certain aspects to stretch you and make you achieve those goals,
Yes,
so,
definitely.
I know you've got shorter time for us, and I know we're coming to near the end. So I just want to go one. So what's next for you? Where do you see the next thing happening, and where do you think you're going to be going, and direction wise, etc.?
I think because I guess this year definitely had the rug pulled out from underneath us, like everybody around the world. I definitely want to concentrate on the salons when we go back. Like the minute we go back, I'm not going to be doing too much European stuff, I don't think, straight away. I do really want to concentrate on the salon and get it back on its feet, because before we locked down, my week kind of ran like this. I would either be teaching for Business of Hair on a Monday, or I would have Monday off. We could do teaching Sunday and Monday, or we might not teach at all. But if we were, so we'd teach for Business of Hair on a Sunday and a Monday. Tuesday I'd be in the office. Wednesday I would train my own. Thursday would be my day off. Friday in one salon, Saturday in another salon. So that's if we had a show at the weekend, and we kind of had something on nearly every second weekend. So even though I'm not in the salon 5 days a week, I still have Business of Hair to do. And if I'm not doing Business of Hair, I'm doing something with Jaiko. So every week was full on, and I love it like that.
Yeah.
So, and this was a really good year, and we had it all mapped out, and we had it all planned out. So I'm just going to pick up where we left off. Like, I need to spend definitely this side of the year getting back into the salon and making sure that we stay okay. And then I think it's going to be next year is going to be our big year as regards We had an awful lot of plans for Business of Hair. Like we were extending Business of Hair in more ways than one. And we were going to be doing an awful lot with JICO, but I actually think that this lockdown I know you guys are with JICO and you've already made, your household names are really after flourishing. But I think for the three of us, I think this lockdown is going to have done myself, Katrina, and Sabrina the world of good, because we haven't quite done anything with yourselves yet on the stage work. And I think that's going to take over us.
I mean, we had loads of days booked for this year.
We had loads of days booked. Yeah, we had. Yeah. And I'm looking at my Google Calendar and a reminder pops up and I'm like, oh, I should have been over there. But you know what? Like, I'll never get this time with my kids again. Ian, you never had this time with children. I'll never get this time with them again. So I'm not misery about it. I'm being positive. I'm taking every day as it comes. Do I have down days? Yeah. Am I ringing Sabrina and Katrina crying every now and again? Yes. And then I wake up the next morning, I'm like, cop on. There's nothing that you can do about this right now. Yeah. I have everything planned. My salon is ready to reopen in the morning if we need to. That's my first priority. Yep. Second priority is JICO and Business of Hair. And that's it. We're going to have a really busy year next year.
Cool. So with that in mind, right, I think everybody's thinking that next year it has to be like, I thought 2020 was going to be massive, but it's like, it's completely dead in the water, as it were. So I think that it will have to be 2021. So Paul and I are working on some big things as well, or some things that we think could become big for us as well. Like I met Paul like through JICO, and it's been so easy. Like I think it's like we are like the male version of you and Sabrina. Yeah,
and stick David Murray in there then as well.
and David's definitely right in there. Yeah, that's without doubt. We're all good pals. But we'd have to have you on again.
Yeah,
we have to have you on for longer.
No worries.
Because it's been like incredible that you've given us this time and your information. I'm sure it's inspiring because of your story of how you started, the problems you've had, how you overcome, and how successful you are now, and how positive you are about going back.
Yeah, I'm really excited about going back, and I think like I have my salon 16 years this year, and I have no intentions of closing. I have no intentions of giving up. There is no fight that's going to be big enough for me to walk away from. And like everyone can do it, but you have to be prepared to put the work in. Yeah. No one came to me with a silver plate and said, there you go, there's 2 salons and an educational business. Go hell for leather on it. You have to get off your arse, excuse me, expression, and actually get on with it. Like you have to get up, and you cannot go around being negative. If we're not going to be positive, like I have 2 kids downstairs, they're wrecking my head, but I have to get them and be mammy today and be happy about it. What's the point in being miserable? I don't think there's any point anyway.
No, that's great. So, Paul, do you want to say anything else? Do you want to conclude?
Well, just touching on that point is that I think a lot of people, when they see people progressing, or artists or educators or anything, they see it like not that you've been handed it, but that it seems quite easy. Like we seem to handle having salons, doing what we do. We then have to go on stage, we then have to come back and just get into salon life, and it's the complete opposite. It's very hard.
It is very hard, and like like some of my guys probably they know me too well now. Like I'm hairdressing 26 years, and it's taken me now to get onto like I was on a cutting team, and I suppose when I was really young, I was on a team in Australia. And now I'm on this team, like as you said earlier on, this to me now, JICO feels like home, and I know I'm going to be on this team for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But it is tough. Like me and Katrina, the last time we were like, oh my God, remember we had to go to Eindhoven, and then we had to drive back up to, where's the other airport that you drive? Not in Belgium, was it up to Brussels?
Was it Brussels?
We barely made our flight. And like JICO really look after us, but like this is our own given. We had to run from one airport to the other. Oh my God, then I couldn't find my passport. Everything was on the ground, and we were like literally then sitting on the ground eating a sandwich before we got back onto a flight, before we checked in, before we got back to Ireland at 12 o'clock in the night, drove home to our families and went to work the next day. Like nothing glamorous about it. Like, do you know, my husband definitely sees it now. He'd be like, oh, there she's gone swatting off again. He doesn't say that anymore. Not at all. Like, he knows exactly. It's tough. But would I do it? I would do it every weekend.
Every day. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Well, some of Bain and Paul's best conversations are in transit from when we've done the job back to the airport. Then we sit and have some dinner. We got a 4-hour wait. So we'll have some dinner. Then we go and have a coffee. And then he goes his way and I go my way. But we've solved everything we wanted to do in that time, you know? So that's really, really good. So that's been a great thing of how to get to know somebody. I love this comment here. Have you seen this?
And like, oh yeah.
That's really, really brilliant. Yeah.
I mean, so, Ian, you might not say the same. Poor Paul had to listen to us for 5 mornings every morning, and like, I think, what did you turn around? He turned around to the taxi driver and goes, "Mate, they just don't shut up. They just keep talking all the time." And I think Bruno from
Mark Anthony,
the boys, Mark Anthony, I think he's flabbergasted with how much we can talk.
I mean, when I first met you all, and it was like that morning, the first morning, and it was like more like from breakfast right up until the end of the day. But and then the next morning, you were just on it, like level. Yeah. And with the taxi man, I think it was like, what, day 4?
My God. I think that David said on when he did his live last week or the week before, he did his live, and he said, I'm just lucky, you know, I'm just really lucky to do this. And I had to remind him afterwards, and I tried to remind him on the live. I said, David, there's no expression that says, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah.
And I think if anybody knew the work goes on behind the scenes, you know, after hours, early morning, weekends, you know, all the stuff we do behind the scenes, like when we do a show for Joyco, it's like weeks in the planning and rehearsals and all of that stuff. And, you know, all the ideas we have to have. And, you know, so out of 10 ideas, 1 may work, you know, so.
Absolutely. And I actually hate that word unlucky when people are lucky, when people say to me as well, you know, like with my Instagram account, I show a lot of me and my life and my kids. I'm lucky to have my children. I'm not going to deny that. But when people say to me, oh my God, you're so lucky, your house is amazing. And I am so quick to flash back, girl, I'm not lucky. I've been saving for 20 years for this house and I'm still working my butt off to pay it off. You just don't get luck handed to you. You work your bum off.
Yeah. Nothing comes for nothing. Yeah, nothing for nothing.
No.
I'm saying that, I'm looking at the scaffolding wrapped around my house at the moment. I've got a roof now. At least I got. Do you know what I was when we went the lockdown? I was in the roof space doing my lives on the roof space, and you can see all the. God. I've now actually got a roof on it, so I've actually got a roof.
So you won't get wet.
Well, we open up. There's no tiles on it yet, but I have got a roof.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for having me on today.
It's fantastic.
You've got to shoot now, yeah?
Can't wait to see you in reality, though. Bring back.
No. You can proper hug in.
Okay, I don't know. Will I just log out of this? Is that what I do, Paul? Sorry.
Yeah, I can just log you out. So thank you so much. We'll have to get another date in. Me and Ian are just going to stay on for a little bit longer just to discuss what we've got.
We're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about you now. So just log off.
Chat away. Talk all you want. And when are you going to give me a haircut? I need a haircut. It's getting ridiculous.
Oh my God. Yeah, I love it though. You know, I think I was reminding me of it, especially with the glasses. You look a bit like Garth from Wayne's World.
That's not even a compliment. Oh my God. No. Okay. Bye, guys.
Now. See you.
Bye. Oh, mate, that's a chat up line. That is.
End on a high, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, how did everybody like Denise? So that is Denise, our teammate from Joyco. Some of the comments that have come in. I'm glad that it's been an inspirational chat. It's what we're trying to do twice a week.
Twice a week. Yeah.
One of the last questions was, what are we planning to do? What are your plans post-lockdown? I think we'll probably do another video on this, won't we?
It keeps changing every week, to be honest, doesn't it? Yeah. Every week is something new. We learn something new, so we have to change it. And it's about being adapting and evolving as the situation evolves. The information comes out new, and then we change our plans again. But I don't think there's any definitive plan just yet. But I think you can have basic things in place, and we can talk about that again, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm doing with my clients and team is I've put a newsletter together, and I put it out every Tuesday, and it's basically whatever the government are saying throughout that week.
Yeah.
I'll just put it on paper or as such, send it out to all the clients, just because some of you must be feeling it, is that other salons are sort of concrete in the 4th of July or the 1st of June, and you get an abundance of messages saying, oh, can I get the 4th of July first? And it's like, nothing's concrete. We don't know
yet.
We don't know nothing. So just hold on. Just keep informing your clients that you are keeping on board with everything, and keep in contact, and with your team as well. So yeah, some of the things like one of my girls messaged me, I think it was yesterday or today, and she says, "Oh, we're going to have to go back with all this PPE." And did you see Italy? They've gone back in full, like, they look like painter and decorators, don't they? Like full on kit. So that's happening over there. We don't know. I personally think that we're holding out as long as possible to minimise the effect on what it will have on our industry.
Yeah,
we'll still have to social distance. We'll still have to wear PPE, but I think we're going to be stretching out as long as possible. So it's a bit of an easier transition.
Definitely. I think there's something we can do nearer the time where we can come on and when we get more information and share it, we can get it from the NHBF and from like the fellowship or wherever we can get more information from, and we can share it from our various bodies. I think that's a good idea. We can do one later on. We can probably do a daytime one. But Denise, I mean, we both know her, right? And I think I describe her as a powerhouse, and I really mean it. She is a powerhouse, but she is non-stop. People think she's like that just because it's social media. She's non-stop. Like first thing in the morning, last thing at night. That's Denise. And I think, to be honest, we only scratched the surface of who she is, because there's so much more to than that. And she's phenomenal. Great hairdresser, very, very good, great businesswoman. And we
have with everybody, just scratch the surface. I think
the surface, yeah.
Guess
there's a few people coming back. I know Zoe Carpenter. She wants to come back as well. Yeah. Which takes us on to what's happening next week and who's coming up. So,
Monday, mate.
So Monday we've got Chad Diemchuk coming on, and I met Chad in about I think it was in 2012, 2013 in Australia. I was out there with the division director of Joico then, Gianni Scamacci, and he was part of the group that we were teaching. There was about 45 hairdressers from the Pan-Pacific area, Australia, Asia, and that area. And it was based in Australia. And we were doing, I think, one of the Salon Ideas courses at the time, which is I think maybe in Salon Ideas 1, actually. And I was assisting Gianni at that time. And I met Chad there, and he was on the American team. And we've kind of built up a bit of a friendship through social media since. And I know the influences we had then is that he took up with people like, he wanted to get into the NAHA awards, the North American Hairdressing Awards, which he's done. I think he's finalized twice. And I think as a result of the work I was doing at the time, because I work with a lot of photographers, he used the same photographer I was then. There was John Rawson. John's worked with him several times. John's gone over to America, shot with him. And so we've kind of had mutual friends, and we've kind of helped each other where we can. Great colorist, great guy. He has a great take on it. He's quite flamboyant, but in a really nice way. Yeah. And he's a really honest person, and he speaks from his heart. So I think you'll really enjoy that Monday. So I know I'm really looking forward to having him on, because he's a good friend and he's a good pal, and it'd be great for people in Europe to be more aware of him. And then on Friday, we've got Olivia Smalley. She is the queen of hair hacks. So if you just type in OMG on social media, I'm pretty sure her account will come up. So she's also Joico. She is a brand storyteller for Joico, and what that is basically she'll take you on a journey through the brand in a very creative way. And she's also a content creator. She's got a YouTube channel, which is, if you just search in YouTube, Olivia Smalley, she'll pop. Oh my God, OMG Artistry, isn't it?
OMG Artistry is her Instagram.
Yeah.
And then her YouTube is I suppose if you put that in as well, it will come up because of the tags and everything. But yeah, she's a Educator of the Year nominee as well. So we've got some great, incredible people coming on and who we've had on previous as well. And we're sticking with our Joico family at the minute because, well, that is who we
so
work
many
with.
of them. So many of them.
And that's who we work really closely with. And to be honest, a lot of the American guys we haven't met, but working with the same brand, we want to know more about them and hopefully link up as well when the lockdown's over. So we want to bring those guys to you in Europe and then, yeah, go from there.
Yeah, spread some love, right?
Yeah.
But we've got 1 or 2 really big ones coming up.
Yeah.
But we're not going to say that, are we?
No, I keep saying that I'll do a bit of a rota to put out there, but I don't know. Do you like now in the comments or once this video's gone live?
Yeah.
Even just message us. Do you want to know who's coming up? Do you want to have a guess?
Or who would you like to see?
Yeah. And they don't have to be Joico. They can literally be anybody.
Anyway.
We're just hitting up all the Joico team because that is who we work with. But we're gonna progress and link up with as many of you as possible. So even if you want to come up with, actually, we were talking about competition as well, weren't we?
Yes.
So there's some competitions we've got in mind, and we want to get some of you guys on here as well because our format can take up to 10 people live at once. So it'd be great to have like a little bit of a round table meeting, I suppose it could be.
Soiree,
yeah.
Soiree. We'll all have individual nibbles at home while we have our soiree.
Yeah.
But I think that'll be really cool. Like I said, this competition we're talking about will be really good. And but if anybody's got anybody that they really want to see, or they think that me and Paul might be able to grab on you, and you want to hear a story from, or there's something of special interest you want to see, then just put a tab in the comments, write down below what you want to say, who they are, why, and what you want to know, what your questions are, and we'll do our best to get them on you. Because so far we haven't been turned down once. Touch wood.
No, we haven't. But also as well, we haven't really delved into what we do too much. People who know us know a bit of what we do, but if you want to know what we do as salon owners or hairdressers, educators, artists, if you want to hear our story, we could do an evening on that. We could do a Sunday evening maybe.
It's really funny because, like, especially with Denise on there, and she's very kind as well. She said, "Oh, you guys are already known in the Joico family, and we all know, so we were excited." And like I've worked all over the world really with Joico, pretty much like Asia, Malaysia, Taiwan, Australia, America. I've been everywhere with the company. No, I haven't been in America with the company, but I have worked in America.
Yeah.
But you kind of forget sometimes what they think. So it was nice that she says, "Oh yeah, you guys are up there." I'm like, household name. Don't think I'm household name, but I am known within the Joico family, which is quite a big family actually. So that's really good. But it takes a lot of graft to get there, and then it's about actually delivering every time you are there. And that's why I always get nervous before you go on stage. That's why you always still want to do your best. And I think those are the things you want to do. But there's a lot of big names out there, and what I always want to do with anybody, whether it be my own team or people I can advise, is like show them where those doors are to walk through, make it easy for them. Nobody made it easy for me, and I'm sure nobody made it easy for you. No. But I don't think that people should be made to go through something difficult because it was difficult for us.
Oh no, definitely.
I want to make that journey as easy as possible if that's what you want to do.
We've found the shortcuts.
Yeah.
We
can tell you the shortcuts.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the good things about working for somebody or with somebody that has already gone through that, because if you want to get to where we are and we're doing education around the world, then we can show you the way.
And anybody can do it.
Yeah.
You have to have knowledge, you have to have understanding, you have to be open, especially with our brand. You have to be honest and speak from your heart, really. And I think that's when people come on board. I always say that when there's people I try to influence in the UK to come on board with Joico, And I always say to the distributor, if you can get them to Helmond or to one of the distributor centres,
yeah,
they'll feel it. They'll just feel what it's like, and they'll understand, whoa, this is a different brand altogether, because it is so tight. It is a family. It is, you know, real family. You know, like I've never experienced anything like it. So and I've been with them since 2010, 2011. So I've been really, really fortunate, you know. So, but yeah, so I hope everybody's enjoyed. I really enjoyed that. It went so fast again.
It does. An hour just isn't long enough. Unless an hour 10 minutes. But yeah, so Monday, 7 p.m. UK time. Chad, I think that's 11 a.m. America.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, you'll see on the if you go onto YouTube, or on YouTube you can click reminder and the times are all there. Same with Olivia. Olivia's is going to be promoted as of tonight, so you can click and set a reminder for there. Don't forget to follow us both on Instagram. Our Instagrams are below and in the top corner. Any questions after the video, pop them below because we keep checking the videos. DM us. And yeah, thank you, mate.
Excellent, Paul, once again. High five.
High five. And I will see you on Monday, mate.
Awesome. See you Monday.
See you Monday, mate.